Rotation is the movement of a body turning on its axis. Earth rotates once in 24 hours. Revolution is the movement of an object around a center or other object. Earth revolves around the sun in 365.25 days, or 1 year. Precession is the change in the orientation of the rotational axis of a rotating body. Earth's axis executes precession over a period of 26,000 years. Nutation is the rocking or swaying motion in the axis of rotation of a rotating body. Nutation is caused by gravitational attraction to other bodies that cause a precession speed to change over time. A neap tide is a tide between the first or third quarters of the moon, where there's the least difference between the high and low water. So if this is our Earth and this is our sun, the moon is over here, and so there's a gravitational pull of the water towards the moon and slightly less to the sun. So, but since there's both a pull in both directions, there's not a big difference. Spring tide is a tide immediately after a new or full moon when there is the greatest distance between the high and low tides. So here's our sun and our Earth, and our moon is going to be in between. And since there's a pull towards both the moon and the sun, high tide is much more dramatically more than low tide.
About 2 times a year we have something called an equinox. And that's basically when the sun crosses the celestial equator. And so it makes day and night the same length. And it usually happens around September 22nd or March 20th. Now we're going to talk about solstices. And that's basically the winter and summer solstice. And that's when the sun reaches its highest point in the sky, or its lowest point in the sky, usually around noon, and that is when the longest and shortest days are of the year. Yeah.
An eclipse is when one celestial body obscures the light of another. A solar eclipse happens when the moon blocks some of the light coming from the sun and causes a shadow on our surface.
This is a solar eclipse.
Is when the Earth blocks some of the sun's light on the moon and causes a shadow here. Oops.
This is a lunar eclipse. Photosynthesis is a process of plants using sunlight to make food. And there is no sunlight right now, so they're probably not making any
In
food.
photosynthesis, plants take light, carbon dioxide, and water and make glucose, which they use for energy, and oxygen.
Combustion is a fast chemical combination of a substance with oxygen involving the production of heat and light.
Hey there. Have you ever heard of a barycenter? Because I have. And it is the point between objects when they have masses that balance each other out, and then a center of mass. That's not like the moon, you know. It doesn't orbit the center of Earth, but a point on a line between center of Earth and moon, approximately 1,710 kilometers below Earth's surface. Today I'm going to be talking about fission. Now, fission is when you have these neutrons, and then this is the fission. It happens and they split apart, as you can see, and then they split apart again, as you can see. So
More neutrons causes a chain reaction.
we got, like, you know, whenever there's like balls and you throw a ball and it makes other balls roll, like in bowling, sort of like that. And a way you can remember fission is because you have here 2 S's, F-I-S-S-I-O-N, and you can take these 2 S's and split them apart like I have demonstrated here, and that shows the splitting apart of the neutrons.
Fusion is the energy process where multiple nuclei come together to form a denser, more heavy nucleus. And this is the energy process of the sun, and the sun gives us all our energy for life processes on Earth. So fusion powers life. Convection is the process of heat transfer by mass motion of fluid. As we can see here, it happens in convection cells. Here would be an example of heat rising from the ground, cooling and sinking, then heating and rising again. And this happens in the stars and our sun.
So now we're going to talk about conduction. And here's my pan. I'm boiling some water for ramen noodles, obviously. And I have these molecules in here, they're transferring heat to the pan. So whenever I go to get my ramen noodles, obviously, because I'm hungry, my hand is burnt.
Electromagnetic radiation is the transfer of heat through waves, and it includes radio waves, infrared light, visible light, UV rays, X-rays, and gamma rays.